Okay, here we go. Time to preview what I'm working on. Uh, my new premium WordPress themes. The new website is going to be at quickerthemes.com. All the themes are going to start as Artisteer created themes, but I'm gonna do a lot of customization after exporting. Um, the site is gonna be completely active on September 15th. I also created a Twitter account where I'm gonna make various announcements over there as well. Um, as far as pricing goes, I'm thinking I'm gonna follow what Elegant Themes does. I'm a very happy customer for almost 2 years now. They have $40 a year for all of their themes, and for developers, they're 90. I think I'm gonna start with a $40 per year subscription, and then later on add uh, an option for developers. The developers, they're gonna get the Artisteer, the ARTX files, a lot of the secrets, what goes, how I do things, and things that will benefit the developers. All right, so let me start. What are the goals? Um, the goals I'm trying to get are to create themes that can be configured to be used in a blogging CMS and in WooCommerce environments. Um, usually, the good e-commerce software packages that don't have blogging or good CMS capabilities, and WooCommerce enables me to have all three environments meshed into one. So you can have a website that can be used for blogging, for general CMS, and for very complicated e-commerce sites, all meshed together. Um, what is the distinction between a WooCommerce theme versus a regular WordPress theme? Besides the obvious, besides the fact that um, the products are displayed correctly without any hiccups or any problems. But in most of the themes, that WooCommerce themes, they have a mini cart either in the navigation bar, like here, or they have it in the header. Now, those themes, those WooCommerce themes, the mini cards uh, are hard coded into the theme. So if you want to remove them to use the same theme uh, just as a logging platform or as a CMS, you need to dive into the code and hunt down that particular code and remove it. The way I handle things, removal of the mini card, it's very simple. The mini card is inserted through a text widget. So all you have to do is go to the appropriate widget area and simply remove it. Um, it's gone. So now you can use the website uh, for a regular website. Okay, let me put it back really quickly. All right, good. Now, my second goal is there's a big stigma out there if you use Artisteer themes, especially if you're trying to redistribute those themes, sell them as premium themes. Um, I'm gonna try not only to remove that stigma from my themes, but also to embrace the fact that those themes were initially created with Artisteer, and therefore further customization by the client, whether it's a web developer or a complete end user, will be much easier to do. So those are the goals. The main features of the themes, of course, the first one, very obvious, for all the themes to have a responsive design. They're going to be responsive, and thanks to Artisteer 4.2, a lot of the problems that I was encountering, especially with the header and the slideshows, they're all been fixed. So everything is going to work fine, both in the desktop mode and in the responsive layouts, whether it's a tablet or phone. Of course, I want all the themes to be WooCommerce compatible with the optional mini cart that I showed you over there. Optional means you can add it on to your theme very easily or remove it. So you can use the theme as a blog or a CMS. I used to develop my e-commerce sites initially with PrestaShop, and then I find OpenCart. And I invested heavily in OpenCart. I spent over $500 in buying some premium themes and extensions for it. But thanks to WooCommerce, I discarded all the others, and I'm finding out WooCommerce for at least 3, 4, 5,000 items. It's the best and easiest way to go. You also get the added bonus that because you're using WordPress, you have all these extensions you can use, and you can use it also as a good blogging platform and a CMS platform as well. So there are many reasons why I dumped all the others and I'm using WooCommerce, but that's I guess a discussion for another time. Alright, another big issue, a main feature, are the slideshows. Now, looking at the competition, looking what's out there, looking at the other premium themes, whether it's from Elegant Themes, Thematic, Theme Forest that have 7,000 of them, whether it's Joomla, WordPress, static websites, whatever. When it comes to slideshows, they have a certain way of doing things, and I totally agree with them how it's done, and my themes will follow their example. So by default, a theme is going to have a slideshow on the home page, and the slideshow will be turned off automatically for the rest of the pages. Now, for whatever reason, if you want to turn on the slideshow for any page, you're going to be able to do so very easily. All you have to do is edit the page, and I've got pre-made styles that are going to be added to it. So in this case, I'm going to add the slider CSS, and now this page also is going to have the slideshow. Okay, the rest of the pages, they're not going to have it. So in this case, we have the home page, which is the shop page, and the shortcodes page going to have the slider. In order for me to achieve this, I had to create some PHP if and then statements. It's basically looking whether the slider, the responsive slider, which is the third-party slider, So I removed the slideshow, the Artisteer slideshow, with a third-party one for many reasons. Um, and if it's active, it's going to display it for the home page, whatever your home page is. But the rest of the pages, it's going to be turned off. And as I showed you, if you need to display it for any page, all you have to do is edit the page, and through that CSS file, you can put it on for that particular page. Now, there are going to be instances, of course, where you're going to need to have the slideshow or an image all times. So, for example, another template is Miami 2. In this case, this particular theme, it has two menus. And you can configure the menus, you can set them up any way you want. So I've got the top menu as my regular pages, and at the bottom I set it up to have the WooCommerce category pages. And I set only 3. Of course, you can, have as many as you want. In this case, removing the sidebar, it's not going to give you a very pleasant way of looking at the website. You're going to have the 2 bars right underneath each other. So in this particular case, it's going to be best if the slider is always turned on. At worst scenario, if you don't install the slider, you are going to have a static image that it's going to come with a theme. So that's that. So some themes are going to have 2 horizontal menus. Most of them, of course, they are going to come with also a vertical menu. So you're going to have a minimum of 1 menu and maximum of 3 menus, 2 horizontal and 1 vertical. All right. Let's go back to the features. Now, another big feature that I'm adding to my themes is a plugin installer, an independent plugin installer. What most theme makers out there are doing nowadays is embedding those plugins inside the themes. So a theme that could have been or should have been 300 kilobytes, 400 kilobytes, all of a sudden is ballooned to 2 megabytes, 3 megabytes, because it contains all those plugins inside, whether it's the shortcuts to create accordions or sliders or tons of other things that they need in the themes. They're all embedded inside it. Now, ThemeForest last month, they came up with the new rules of accepting new themes. Is that embedding of plugins is not allowed, and they will only accept the new themes to include an installer. So let me show you how that works and what is an installer. So I've got a copy of a site over here. The only plugin that is installed and it's active, it's WooCommerce and nothing else. I'm going to go and install the Vienna theme here, and in the process you're going to see how the plugin installer is going to work. So upload, Vienna. Now, as soon as I activate it, it's going to tell me that this theme requires the following plugins, which is the responsive slider, and this theme recommends the following plugins, and blah blah blah. Now, you don't have to install all of them. Those are just suggestions that I'm making, or some of them if you want to have a slider, third-party slider, you can go ahead and automatically install those things. And at any given time, you don't want to install or you don't want to see this notice, all you have to do is dismiss this notice, and you're never going to see it again until you deactivate the theme and activate it again. So let's go ahead and start installing some of the plugins over here. So the installation process, just like any plugin or theme, or anything else in WordPress, it involves two steps. Number one is to install it, upload it to your site, in other words, and the second thing is to activate it. So the first step is to install it. So let's get the slider. At some other time, I will explain what all the different plugins that I'm suggesting will do. But let's say those right now. I'm going to say apply. And right now what the plugin is doing is going to the WordPress repository online and picking up those plugins and installing them. I could also have those plugins to be part of the theme package, the zip package, but in time they're not going to be the latest versions of it, so it's always best not to include them in your zip. First of all, you keep the downloads file sizes small, but also it always goes and gets the freshest, the newest versions of the plugins available at the WordPress repository and installs them. Alright, so when it comes to plugins now, we have the main WordPress plugin tab over here, and also in the appearance, which are the themes, you have the plugin installer that comes with the theme. So over here it tells you of all the plugins that I'm recommending, I chose to recommend, which ones are actually installed and activated. So this one is installed, not activated, installed, not activated, not installed, blah blah. So the ones that I installed, I'm gonna go ahead and activate them. Okay, activate, and that's all it takes. So the following plugins were successfully activated. So at this point, at any given time, I can use the install plugin over here and go ahead and install any other plugins that I want or not. And when I'm done, all I have to do is dismiss this notice, and I'm never going to see this notice until I deactivate the theme and then activate it again, and the notice is going to come back until you dismiss it. So that's the plugin installation that I'm going to have. I'm sure a lot of you or some of you are going to have suggestions of what other plugins to include. I've included a caching plugin, and I know there are many of them. Some of them are very complicated to use, some are easier to use. I have included the responsive slider, and there are tons of free sliders to use. But I configured the themes to use with the responsive slider. If you have another slider, I really like the meta slider, for example. It's going to take about 30 seconds to dive into the PHP code and change 2 lines of code to make my themes to work with any slider out there. So I'm gonna have customer support through email, and once I get enough people in there, I'm gonna have a forum where I will be posting all of these solutions, and all the things that you can further customize the themes. All right, next. Those are the big ones, the four big ones actually, the four big features. The responsive themes, they're all going to be responsive. They're going to be WooCommerce compatible. The optional slideshows, and again, by default, the slideshows is going to be on, turned on only in the home page, and you can optionally turn them on for any other page that you want. Now, other premium themes, they don't give you those choices. You have to have their slider of their choosing, and you need to have a slider in the home page, and you cannot add the same slider to any other page that you want. So you have more freedoms with my themes. Alright, now let's talking about the main advantages of installing the plugins as opposed to embedding them like most other premium themes do it. Now, the plugins can be used, also can be used when you deactivate the theme. If you change the theme to another theme like 2012 or a theme from Elegance Themes, because those plugins are going to be listed in the plugins tab. So even if I change the theme right now to something else, those plugins that were installed with the theme are still going to be accessible to the site. The second thing is that you're going to choose which plugins to install. Therefore, you're going to potentially reduce the server load that the theme will impose on the server. In a lot of those themes that the plugins are being embedded, whether you're going to use a certain plugin like the shortcodes, and I'll talk the shortcodes in a second. For example, to create accordions and tabs and all sort of other things. If you're not going to use them, if it's embedded, this plugin, it's going to eat up your RAM. But if you're not going to use it, why install it? So that's the reason why I have no problem suggesting 20, 25, 30 plugins, especially when most themes do get installed on new websites. So the new website doesn't have any plugins, and it needs a plugin for a backup, a plugin for this, a plugin for that. Why not use, my suggestions, and with a few clicks you can go ahead and install everything and be done with it. Now, another very important thing is that if the plugins are embedded, you are really at the mercy of the theme developer to get updates for the plugins. If the plugins are embedded, those plugins are not going to be listed in the plugins tab. It's not going to be in the list. So when a new update comes out, you're not going to be able to update them. You have to wait for the theme developer to update his theme, and then you have to download the theme and then update the theme, where in turn it's going to update the plugin. But in this case, when a new update comes up, it's going to be inside the list. All you have to do is update it and be done. So those are the main reasons why a plugin installer it's much better than embedding the plugins inside your premium theme. Alright, so and I already said it, as of last month, ThemeForest requires all new themes to install the plugins and not embed them. inside the themes. Alright, those are the main four features, and I've got many small other features that are unique to my themes that I haven't seen them in other premium themes, and most of them again they are I'm using um, plugins for some of the functions, but some of the things are uh, embedded inside the theme, so I personally program them. So one of those features is custom CSS per page and post. I already showed you this, so for any page, let me go over here. You already saw it. I can have some preset CSS files that you can activate and deactivate. So in this case, it's this one I'm talking about for this particular page. I can use a slider or not a slider. When it comes to posts, and let me go to the first post. When it comes to blogging posts, I also made it so that you can also add the slider over here or not, or you can automatically use two columns, so split this up into two columns. So as an example is the first one, the header post. As you can see, automatically it's been divided into two columns, and that's very easy to do. If you go to select your custom style sheet, you can select the two column, you have the slider and also the two column slider. So I'm going to go ahead and say the two column slider. So we're going to have in this case two columns and also the slider in this post. There you go. Okay. All other posts, this is the only post that has two columns. All other posts are going to be by default one column. Alright. Also, each theme is going to have multiple colors eventually and multiple choices of fonts. So let me give you an example. Let me load up this sample site that I have. So I've got the same theme, the Vienna theme over here, but I'm gonna go ahead and change the color from blue to red. To do so, all I have to do is go to the micro loader, and I have some files ready made, and I've got to make more, I guess, for each theme. And I'm gonna say font red. So this particular one is, I'm going to change the font and the color. It's going to be red. Once I activate it, and there it is. It changed the font and the color is red. I can very easily go ahead and change it to another color. I have only green, by the way, and it's the same font. Okay, and of course I can change it. The last one that I have, the last choice that I have, it's only the font, so it's going to be the only change that's going to happen. It's going to be just the font. It's going to be blue. So by creating these files with a click of a button, I can have different styling variations, colors, different fonts. On purpose, I use this handwriting font that's going to be very different from the original font, so you would see the difference. And if you don't want to use it at all you have to do is deactivate it, and you can activate one file at a time. So this is the original font that I'm using inside the theme, made from Artisteer. So I guess that's that. Styling the editor. Now, if I go and edit a page, by default, the styles, your theme styles, are not shown inside the editor. It's going to be plain images, or if you use a button corner or any of the styles that you use from inside the Artisteer style sheet, they're not going to be shown over here. So if you create a layout in Artisteer, like with the cells and the rows that they have over there, and copy paste them over here, you're not going to be able to see the results. I made those themes, my themes, so that the WordPress editor is going to reflect and show the styles over here. So in this case, part of the styles that I have is adding shadows to the images, and those shadows are clearly shown over here. So you don't have to necessarily have to go to the front side of the website to see the different styles. So whether you create a button, for example, over here, okay, let me find it. I think it was in the sample page. There you go. I'm using an Artisteer class, the art button, to create this link. And in a regular Artisteer WordPress theme, you're not going to be able to see this button in the backside, in the editor. But in my case, because they're activated, you're going to be able to see it. Okay? So, next. I've got a shortcut to display live website snapshots, and you saw the example over here. So basically, with a shortcode, I'm able to get a live snapshot of any website and display the thumbnail image of it. It's very good for web developers showing their portfolio, their work. So the code to use it is as follows. It's this one over here. It's snap, and then the URL of the website, the alternate text. In this case, should be quicker site. And then the width and the height of the site, and that's it. As far as the button goes, it's actually pretty simple to create that. I just created a hyperlink. Okay. Said open it in a new window, and then all I had to do is go into the source and put the class art button to it, and that's it. The link becomes a button, and this is possible not just for my themes, but any Artisteer theme, whether you use it in static website, Joomla, quicker site, whatever. So that's that. Okay, another important feature that I added to my themes is the ability to display images in search results. Very important if you have products to sell, if you using WooCommerce to sell things. So if I say coffee and search coffee, as you can see, there's an image of the resulting page product. By default, excuse me. By default, WooCommerce Artisteer themes do not display the images in results. So that's pretty important. Next, what I did, and this might be controversial or not, I made it so that every image is going to have automatically a shadow. You can remove the shadows if you want by a no shadow class, but any image that you put, it's going to have a shadow. So let me go really quickly and create a page and show you what I mean. While I'm going to show you the shadows and what you can do with the shadows, you can also add rounded corners for every image in different variations from 5 degrees to all the way to 30 degrees in variations of 5 degrees at a time. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, or 30. So let me show that really quickly. Let me create a quick page. That's a post. Let me create a page. Let me add an image. One of the plugins that I'm installing it's this plugin over here, where you can go find images from Flickr and all those other places, Instagram and so on and so forth, and it's going to bring images that you are allowed to use in your website. They're not copyrighted in any way. So let me find for a Porsche. So let's say I want to put that plugin in, the image in. Alright, so let me change the size. Let me make it 500 pixels. I'm gonna update. Automatically, as you see, it put the shadow over here. So let me publish it so you can see it on the front and how it looks. Okay, this is the image with a shadow. If I want to remove the shadow, all I have to do is put that class in. So in here, either say no shadow, or it's going to be easier for some people if they don't dive into the source code. They go to advanced settings, and in the CSS class they say no shadow. And as you can see, the shadow disappeared. I personally prefer the shadows. It has that 3D look, makes the picture jump out of the page. It looks much better. So I'm going to put the shadow, and I'm going to go ahead in this case not only remove the shadow but at corners. Let me remove that, and right now I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. Oh, rounded corners. There you go. So the class is to have rounded corners is rounded 5, rounded 10, all the way to rounded 30 in increments of 5. So I'm gonna say rounded, and let's make it 20. Update, and I can already see the rounded corners over here. Let me save the page, and then looking on the front, and there it is. So very easily I can add those rounded corners to any image. I've got a sample page where this is I've got different versions of the same image. So this is no shadow and no rounded corners. This is all the rest of the image is going to have shadows, but this is 5 degree, 5 pixels rounded, 10, 15, 20, all the way to the extreme of 30 pixels or 30 degrees. Um, and that's it. One of the other um, class that you can use with images, and there's nothing that I did myself. It comes with a regular WordPress theme, actually with regular Artisteer anything template, whether it's WordPress, static HTML, Joomla, whatever. It's the use of Art Lightbox class. So, and I'm using it in this page. So for any image that I go, in this case I have that particular image. I have no shadow, Art Lightbox. Okay, and that's going to activate the lightbox for that page. And if you do it on more than one page, magically the Artisteer template theme, it's going to group them together, so you don't have to worry about grouping them together and stuff like that. So all of them now, in this case, you're going to see the same picture because I'm using the same picture, but they're all grouped together in that page. So that's the use of Art Lightbox class that comes with every single Artisteer template or theme. Another thing that I added to the theme capability is to add extra fields, some extra fields in the context in the profile page, because it was 3-4 lines of code, and in some cases it's needed. So I've added in the profile the Facebook username, the Twitter username, and I believe the Skype username and Google Plus, and the YouTube channel. Those fields. Now, of course, if you're using WooCommerce, your customers, when they create an account, they're not going to be able to utilize those. Especially if with WooCommerce you're going to deactivate, they're going to eliminate them having to have an access to the backside. So everything is going to happen. The only way to access their account is going to be on the front end, like so. If they can't go to the backside, they're not going to be able to set those things. But if you're going to use it in a regular website where you're going to have people sign up and use their profile, stuff like that, those extra fields can be very helpful to you guys. Alright, the next thing that I added is our thumbnail images in the RSS feeds. I don't think that's a big thing. Not a lot of people use RSS feeds. And the one thing that a lot of people are doing this, it's not just me, is removal of the orange box around the input fields. So in Chrome. So in a regular theme, when you click on a box, you would get an orange box around it. That's eliminated. That's what most premium themes do it as well. They just eliminate it. And I think I bored you to death by now, and those are all the minor and major features of the themes, of the upcoming themes. I want to automate the process of the mini cart, and I've got to admit right now the way it works is I will provide my customers with the code, and all they have to do is insert the code in a text widget, and there it goes. Eventually, and I tried this for a few days now unsuccessfully, I want to have a simple widget where all you have to do is drag it and insert it there without inserting the codes. All you have to do is drag it to your any position, widget position that you want, and you're gonna have the WooCommerce mini cart going on. So far I wasn't able to do it. Now, in order for another unique feature that I have compared to other themes or other websites, WordPress websites in that matter, is that through my themes I change the behavior of the text widgets. By default, you could put only HTML, regular text, and JavaScript in there. I changed it so that now you can also put PHP commands in there. You need the PHP for the minicart to work. So I spent few days of finding a solution for that, and then I had found a semi-solution. Then I had to invent the whole thing pretty much and make it so that you can add PHP. So now your text widgets can put any type of PHP code in them, and you can use those text widgets in various spaces. Now, those who don't know how Artisteer themes, WordPress themes work, as far as the widget areas goes, by default you have one widget area in the header. I created a second one through the positions, and everything is pre-configured. You don't have to worry about CSS code in it or styling unless you want to change the colors or the size or anything else. For the mini cart, there are two widget areas in the menu navigation area. So in this particular theme, that's where I'm using to insert the mini cards on the navbar. There are two on top of the page, on top of the content. You have, of course, a sidebar, or in some cases two sidebars. I always use one sidebar and never use the second sidebar. You have two more at the bottom of the page and up to four in the footer area. So compared to static HTML templates that you can create with Artisteer, or compared to other themes by Elegant Themes or by other developers, there are many widget areas that can be utilized very nicely. So that's another big plus of using Artisteer themes as opposed to other themes, because of the widget areas, and they're pretty customizable very easily. You can add, especially in the header area, you can add as many widgets areas as you want. I don't know why you would want to do that, but it's possible. And the other thing that I need to figure out is to have a more professional theme options with Artisteer 4.1. Where we're using the template to generate our codes, and that had some very good options panel, which I think I've found which panel he's using it. It's just a matter of time of me sitting down and learning how to program the thing and create my own panel. Those who don't know what I'm talking about, the Ozone is basically a Templateer made theme. So it's an Artisteer 4.1. So let me log in really quickly. Before that, this is the theme options panel page. It's not even a panel that comes with Artisteer. It's one page. It's pretty long. Doesn't have that many advanced options. It's got some options that you can customize how it's going to how your website is going to work and theme is going to work, so on and so forth. But when it comes to the Templateer, it's got a very nice panel over here, so, and very sophisticated or advanced settings that you can use. For example, you can have in the advanced options, you can set an image as a logo, and also you can place the logo, style it any way you want. So it's got some cool features, and I really like how it looks. It looks more professional than one page. So, and the best thing about it, excuse me, it's got a backup option, so I can back up all my settings, and because there are a lot of settings that you can play, so you can back up your options, your settings, anytime you want, and you can basically copy this file and take it to another website that uses the same um, settings by using the import function. Um, so this option panel, it looks very professional. I like it a lot, and I'm gonna look if I can implement it into my themes. I'm sure you're all bored by now to death, so I'm gonna leave it here. In the coming few days, I'm going to talk, uh, um, discuss more to the business side of things, why I made certain decisions, um, and why I think certain things gonna work. Um, and I'm not just gonna offer arguments or reasons, but actually statistics of surveys um, that I found out there. So that's that. Some people, in fact, today one person was asking me about WooCommerce. So I guess I have to have a short tutorial about WooCommerce and what are its greatest features. Um, besides being very easy to use, let me tell you right now, the ability of having combination option combinations. For example, this particular toaster. Oh, another thing that I forgot in terms of WooCommerce, um, the lightbox or color box, whatever they're using over here, the background was white, and in a lot of the cases, the edges of the image was not very clear either. So I made the background darker. Not a biggie, but it's one of those things. So combinations. So besides keeping track of inventory, uh, in this case it says this toaster in black color, location Europe, and that's the voltage basically, 220 volts versus US 110 volts. There are 5 in stock. Now you don't see the US version because there is no US version available in stock. So if I go to another color, there you go. I have both the US version and the European version. So the US version is $5. So I have 5 of them in stock, and the European I have 8. Okay. So besides doing that independently, and also depending on the choices that you make, you can have different prices as well. The image changes, as you can see over here. So this particular functionality, it's not available with all other e-commerce packages. For example, the um, PrestaShop has them all, but setting it up, it's not as easy as in WooCommerce. Um, as far as OpenCart goes, I'm not sure if the image changing happens automatically. I don't think it does. And also, it does not combine independently um, configure, independently monitor the inventory for each combination. And the way you do it, this is the last thing, very quickly, is once you set up your attributes, you go to variations and you set up all the different variations. And again, PrestaShop does this. Magento, I'm sure it does. I don't like Magento, I never use it. But OpenCart, it doesn't do this. So I'm gonna let me expand all. So I can have for each variation I can have their own SKU code, and if I leave it empty, they're all gonna have W023 in this case. So for each individual combination, which is black US in this case, stock number quantity 0, regular price. So you have the black, the quantity price, and whether you have a sales price. So everything is done independently. And if I had three combinations, obviously I was going to have all the combinations of those things. So that's the beauty of WooCommerce. Very easy to use. And as long as you don't have more than 3, 4, or 5,000 items, as long as you don't have 100,000 items, you can use WooCommerce with a good caching plugin, and it's going to be working pretty good. All right, that's it. Talk to you all